Hey, Adam Dukes here. Welcome to Dadpreneur episode number 21. My favorite number. One of my favorite. I love 8. I was born on 8/8/81, so I love 8s, but 21 is always my number in football and all that. So it's one of my favorite numbers. So I have I came across this. Someone posted something on Facebook a couple days ago. I don't even know who this person is. I'm connected with them somehow, some way. We're digital friends. I couldn't even tell you the person's name, but I read something that they had posted, and it stopped me in my tracks. I read it, I reread it, I copied and pasted it. I posted it in our Facebook group of dadpreneurs to kind of get their response, their feedback. I shared my feedback, and I want to read it word for word. I don't want to mess it up. It says, a local lady, 26, died in her sleep a few nights ago. It's a heavy question. If you knew you'd die in your sleep sometime in the next 90 days, what would you do different if you knew you couldn't avoid it? Again, I know it's a heavy question. I've been thinking about it the last couple days quite a bit. I just got back from therapy, actually, and I told her the whole story about it. It made her think. She was like, wow, you've really inspired me to think differently and think how I would handle my kids in that. So I posted the question a couple days ago. My buddy had texted me yesterday morning and was like, hey man, that was a great journaling topic. Thanks for sharing. I didn't even think of that as a journaling topic. So I told him yesterday, hey, thank you for giving me the idea for the journaling topic. So this morning, it was my journaling topic. I wrote the question out, and it's kind of funny. I wrote the question out this morning, and as I'm writing the question out, I'm like, I'm going to write it out. I don't know what I want to write, so I'm just going to do the question, and then I'm going to do something else. I have like 3 or 4 different journaling activities I do every single morning. So as I'm writing the question out, I'm like, I'm going to do this, finish the question, and then I'm going to do this other thing, multitask, of course. So I hit the question mark. I was done. I did the question mark. And I instantly knew what I wanted to write. And it just all came out. I just started writing and writing and writing. Ended up writing like 3/4 of a page. And the only reason I stopped was because Ava was, she wanted some breakfast and that. So I had to feed her, so I had to stop. So it was a very interesting question and very, very powerful when you start writing it out. Like I said, I had no intentions on even answering the question right then and there, and it just, like I said, it just came out. I just started writing. I talked about I'd want to travel. I've always wanted to go to South Africa on a safari in Australia. Travels, and there's some places in the States that I'd like to see as well, but Australia and South Africa are 2 countries that I really, really, really want to go to. So I started thinking about that and started thinking about costs. Like that would be a ton of money to travel with the family to both those countries and then the places in the United States, all within like the next 90 days. I was pretending like I was going to die on the 90th day. That's how I journaled it, at least. So I was like, well, I'd have to make some extra money. I wouldn't be able to afford to do all of that in the next 90 days, So I kind of wrote out like, well, for today to day 30, I would bust my ass. I would put out more offers. I would sell more trainings. I would sell done-for-you services. I would sell coaching. I would share the 6 years of experience that I have online, the wins, the losses, like what to avoid, and try to shortcut people's success as fast as I possibly could for like the next 30 days. And then the remaining 60 days would be with my family and traveling the world, traveling all over as much as we could travel in those 60 days. That's kind of how I looked at it, even though the question was you could die at any point in the next 90 days. And then I started thinking about the wisdom I would like to pass down to Ava and Ashton, 3 years old and 1 year old. Kind of hard to pass on wisdom to a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. Not much I could do. So then I thought I would write them letters on their specific, on like milestone days, on like their 16th birthday. I'd write them a letter, maybe at high school graduation, starting college, starting to date, your first date, starting to date more seriously, things like that. I'd write them letters, you can't open them until these specific milestones and things like that. Marriage, even though I've never been married, that's something that I would try to give them some wisdom on, having kids, I could share my wisdom. All kinds of things, like I had all this rush of what I would do different and how I would do, and then how I would live life differently for the next 90 days if I knew. And I was talking to my therapist this morning. I was like, and one of the other things I wrote down was I would just share my truth. I'd share my message. I would kind of diary of the mouth for the next 90 days of all the wisdom I've learned over the last 35 years, whether it be starting an online business, whether it be fatherhood, whether it be, life in general. I would be sharing it on Facebook every single day, just sharing messages, hopefully to pass down wisdom to my friends and family on Facebook. And also, like I said, the wisdom down to the kids as well. So then I got thinking, well, why don't I do that now? Why am I not living like that now? Like, why am I holding back? I'm not holding back completely. I've gotten a lot more vulnerable, a lot more open and honest with my things, but I'm not 100% sharing everything. So then I got thinking, man, why don't I do that now? What if I could die in the next 90 days, you know? So I know it's a very heavy question. It's a very scary question. But it's something to think about. I even wrote an email out today and sent it out like to my email database, you know, to my tribe, asking the question, and kind of I called it homework. And I said, please do this homework assignment, you know, 10 to 15 minutes, write it out, pen and paper, you know, old school, write it out, and then just write and see what comes out. You know, it's very, very interesting. It might blow you away. It might not do anything. It might scare the shit out of you. That's what it did for me. And like I said, when I shared it with my therapist, and she like thanked me for bringing this up today, and said that I inspired her on how she's going to look at her life now, and what she would do with her kids. They're 4 and 6, I think, and the wisdom she would try to pass down, you know. So that was cool to hear her say that, and I thought, oh, you know what, this is a perfect topic for Dadpreneur TV. So that is the question I posed to you today. If you knew you were going to die sometime in the next 90 days, let's say by the end of the year, you know, you're not going to make it to 2017, it could happen any day. How would you live your life differently? What would you do differently? It's a thing to think about. Like I said, it's heavy, it's scary, but it's a powerful question. So I want you to do that. I'm giving you a little homework assignment to answer that question. Write down what you would do differently. Or maybe you wouldn't do anything differently. Maybe you're living life on your terms now, and you just continue living life. And that's awesome. Good for you. For most people, I think they probably sit back and go, I'm not sure what I would do. And again, a couple days ago when I posted in the Facebook group, I didn't really know. I kind of just said travel. That was it, you know. And then once I wrote it down on paper, it just really, really came out. So give that a shot. Give that a try. It's a fun exercise and an interesting exercise. It just shows you the power of journaling. All right, thank you.